Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Operating system concept. Today we are going to talk about Linux commands. The Linux command line is a text interface to your computer, often referred to as the shell, terminal, console, prompt, or various other names. It can give the appearance of being complex and confusing to use, yet the ability to copy and paste commands from a website or from an instruction manual combined with the power and flexibility the command line offers means that using it may be essential when trying to follow instructions. This lab will teach you a little of the history of the command line, then walk you through some practical exercises to become familiar with the few basic commands and concepts. We will assume no prior knowledge, but by the end, I hope you will feel a bit more comfortable with command line interface. During the formative years of the computer industry, one of the early operating systems was called Unix. It was designed to run as a multi-user system on mainframe computers, with users connecting to it remotely via individual terminals. These terminals were pretty basic by modern standards, just a keyboard and screen. With no power to run programs locally, instead they would just send keystrokes to the server and display any data they received on the screen. There was no mouse, no fancy graphics, not even any choice of color. Everything was sent as text and received as text. Obviously, therefore, any program that ran on the mainframe had to produce text as an output and accept text as an input. Compared with graphics, text is very light on resources even on machines from the 1970s, running hundreds of terminals across glacially slow network connections. By today's standards, users were still able to interact with programs quickly and efficiently. The commands were also kept very terse to reduce the number of keystrokes needed, speeding up people's use of the terminal even more. This speed and efficiency is one reason why this text interface is still widely used today. When logged into a Unix mainframe via terminal, users still had to manage the sort of file management tasks that you might now perform with a mouse and a couple of windows. Whether creating files, renaming them, putting them into subdirectories, or moving them around on disk, users in the 70s could do everything entirely with the textual interface. Each of these tasks required its own programs or commands, one to change directory, another to list their contents, a third to rename or move files, and so on. In order to coordinate the execution of each of these programs, the user would connect to one single master program that could then be used to launch any of the others. By wrapping the user's command, this shell program, as it was known, could provide common capabilities to any of them, such as the ability to pass data from one command string into another, or to use special wildcard characters to work with lots of similarly named files at once. Users could even write simple code called shell scripts, which could be used to automate long series of shell commands in order to make complex tasks easier. The original Unix shell program was just called sh, but it has been extended and superseded over the years. So, on a modern Linux system, you are most likely to be using a shell called bash. Linux is a sort of descendant of Unix. The core path of Linux is designed to behave similarly to Unix system, such that most of the old shells and other text-based programs run on it quite happily. In theory, you could even hook up one of those old 1970s terminals to a modern Linux box and access the shell through the Linux operating system. But these days, it's far more common to use a software terminal, that same old Unix style text interface, but running in a window alongside your graphical programs. The terminal evolved from the text-based computer terminals of 1960s and 1970s, which themselves replaced punch cards as the main way to interact with the computer. It's also known as the command shell or simply shell. Windows has one too, but it's called the command prompt, and it is descended from the Microsoft Disk operating system of the 1980s. Mac, Linux and Windows computers today are mainly controlled through user-friendly, feature-rich graphic user interfaces with menus, scroll bars and drag and drop interfaces. But all of the basic stuff can still be accomplished by typing text commands into the terminal or command prompt. Using Finder or Explorer to open a folder is akin to the cd command for change directory. Viewing the contents of a folder is like ls, short for list, or dir in Microsoft's command prompt. And there are hundreds more for moving files, editing files, launching applications, manipulating images, backing up and restoring stuff and much more. In this lab, our objective is to familiarize yourself with Linux commands. The tools required: Linux, Ubuntu, or we can run terminal online on this website. How we can browse the file hierarchy. ls command is used to browse directory contents. ls is one of the most frequently used commands and also very useful. Its basic function is to display the list of files and directories. In this lab, I will be showing you some ls command with different parameters. By typing ls, displays contents of a directory, and by adding -a, it will display all files including hidden files, system files and directories. If we add -l, it gives various information like permissions, owner of the file, size of the file or directory in bytes, date and time of modification. It will give you this information: permission, number of files, owner, group, size, modified date and time and name of the file. We can divide permissions in three sections: wx R shows that this is a file, and dr tells us that this is a directory. The remaining section tells us about the permissions set by the file owner. The information here is owner, group, and other users on the system. The owner of the file has write, execute permissions.